Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today we're going to be working on this Chevy Nova again. It has a 4.8 liter with a billet 7875, and we're going to convert it over to E85 today, and we're going to kind of compare the power differences. This is on pump 91 right now on a very conservative tune, and we're going to be able to spice it up a little bit, put it on E85 and see the differences. If you guys want to see some of the Holley tuning and stuff that I've been doing with this car, be sure to check the previous video that I posted. But we're going to get right into this, and we're going to get the pump gas drained out of it, and we're going to pour in some E85, and we're just going to hit it, not touch the tune at all, because it's already set up flex fuel and everything like that. All the air fuel and timing compensations are all set up. So just pouring E85 in, we should see a pretty big power gain. We did a baseline last night, kind of, you know, really conservative pump gas tune, and we're gonna see what the E85 does. I'm expecting a big gain. When I say big gain, I mean like probably 200 wheel or something like that. Because, like I said, it was extremely conservative on pump fuel because that's how this guy wanted it set up. He didn't really want any power in it for pump gas, but he wants the power with E85. So we made like a modest 300 wheel, a little bit over 300 horsepower on pump gas, and like I said, we're just gonna pour the E85 in, leave the same boost settings, same everything like that, but the timing and the air fuel is gonna be a little leaner because it's set up that way, and the timing is gonna be more aggressive. So same boost, changing fuel, timing and air fuel. So first things first, we got to get the pump gas drained out of it, and kind of glad I'm doing this because I did actually find a little fuel leak off of the return line. This fitting right here is actually loose, so you can see it's not even tight. I'm lucky nothing happened when we were messing around with it on the dyno yesterday, but now that we see that, we're going to get that fitting all tightened up and use the return line off of the regulator. We're going to put a hose on it to a can, and then we're just going to start the car until it runs out of gas. So we're just going to put this 6AN line off of the regulator on the bottom, and then run the other end into a can to get the rest of this pump gas out of here. Alright guys, so our closed loop is like 0% still when we switch to the E85, so those flex fuel settings worked great. Matt Happel from Sloppy Mechanics is the GOAT. Let's see what she does first pull on E85. I don't know what the exact percentage is, we'll have to figure that out after we get a data log. Alright, so we're going to check out the data log here in a second, but let's just see what that baseline run did. All we did was pour E85 in. Yeah. Without really any tuning at all, we picked up 100 horsepower. Literally. 298 to 409. What a gain. What a gain. Wow. Let's check out that data log and see how everything is looking now. We're gonna kind of see how close the air fuel is, see where the timing ended up, because on pump gas it was really low, something like 10 degrees on 14 pounds. So we're gonna see where this ended up on E85. So this was our pump gas log, and we got the boost level. It's really hard to get rid of this spike with the air controllers, but it's the best we can do with the Holley. In peak boost there was 15 pounds on pump gas. So let's see if we open up the log we just took. I'm curious if boost changed at all or anything like that. 15 pounds still. And we're at 50% E85, 49% flex fuel. Our timing, let's see how close the fueling is. 4%, it's adding 4% fuel here. We're targeting an 11.8 and we're getting an 11.8, but it looks like we could use a splash of fuel. So I think on the next run we're gonna give it just a little bit of fuel. And that timing was about 15 degrees. So we picked up a few degrees of timing. This thing could definitely spice up even more than this. So I'm gonna clean up this fueling, probably put another 2 degrees of timing in it, and we're gonna see what it does on this same boost level. All right guys, we fixed the fueling and we are gonna give it another whack. I put 2 degrees in it and we're gonna see what it does to the boost. I'm trying to get it a little bit smoother because the power curve, you can see it's still a little surgy, which I think it might just be a little bit down on timing. You see it comes up and it kind of dances a little bit. But you also have to remember that this is a full exhaust car with a muffler, and they really kill power. If this thing was straight piped, you know, 3.5 or 4 inch full exhaust with no muffler or anything, it would probably pick up another, it'd probably make another 100 wheel realistically on this same boost level. So .55 on that one, so we picked up another 50 horsepower, and it looks like the boost curve did smooth out a little bit, but this thing wants some RPM, man. This cam ain't shutting off, so it looks like we're gonna have to give it a little bit, but it did smooth out quite a bit. Let's show just the horsepower here. We're not gonna look at torque. So you can see this graph, it was a little more wavy, where this one came up, it held flat, and then it just built after that. So it definitely stayed a lot smoother. And I spun it a little higher RPM and it loved it. So we're going to look at the data log next and see what she did and see how close everything is. All right guys, we're gonna try a little bit more boost. Last run was like 12.5 pounds, right around 12-ish. We're gonna shoot for like 15, 16 pounds this time. Alright guys, feeding this thing some boost, and the power curve is looking better and better every run. Power curve is getting a lot flatter, a lot happier, and we made 515 horsepower, 600 foot-pounds of torque. Crazy. So we're gonna check out the data log, see where we're at. I implemented 13.5 pounds on the boost by gear table, and what is actual is about a pound or two higher than that because of the way, you know, the air controller is working. I can't seem to get it much better than that. And me and Matt Happel were working back and forth trying to get the boost curve as close as possible, but nonetheless it still works. He's just gonna have to be mindful that if he puts 10 pounds on the controller, it's really gonna make 12. So that was about 16 pounds, commanding 13 pounds. So, you know, just something you have to keep in mind. Closed loop compensation's right on the money. Our air fuel is like perfect. We're still holding steady fuel pressure. 72 pounds of fuel pressure still. And it's about 6,500 RPM. So I mean, yeah, this thing's looking really good. Probably gonna turn it up a little bit more. We are only on 10 degrees of timing here. Oh wait, hang on. Why did it pull timing right there? You have to look at that. Yeah, so that's kind of weird that the timing is flat and then it dies off and then comes back. I wonder what our flex fuel looks like there, if it's losing flex sensor or something. Let's go to fuel. We need to see ethanol content. So we're gonna go to sensors, maybe? Yeah, we're losing flex signal. So this yellow, we're losing flex for a second, and then it comes back. 55% flex fuel, and then it loses signal for some reason. Then it comes back. So I'm unaware what that would possibly be, but I will do some investigating and let you guys know. So on that last dyno run that we just did, I noticed that the timing was dipping off, and I found on the data log when the timing dipped, so did the flex fuel sensor. That's just showing that there's air going past the flex fuel sensor, and when there's air instead of fuel, it's gonna notice there's no ethanol content for a split second, and then it's gonna drop the content down, which in turn drops the timing down, and it runs richer for a second, you know. So the way to fix this, I had this issue on, if you guys remember, I did a black Silverado that we did a Holley integration on for a guy down in Florida, and we had the same issue, and I moved the flex fuel sensor to the feed line instead of the return line, and it was great after that. So he's gonna do that later. We're just gonna get this thing tuned for now, and hopefully make, you know, 550 or so horsepower. I don't really want to push it much farther because this thing has a giant chambered muffler on it, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we did a test back in the day, almost right when I got this shop, actually. It was probably like 2 years ago or something. That white Regal that's back for some more power that we're doing some fixes on, we did a test on that car specifically, and he had a chambered muffler, full 3-inch exhaust, all that stuff. I cut the downpipe like right at the you know, firewall pretty much, and just dumped it to the ground. That car picked up 150 horsepower. It's crazy how much an exhaust system can choke up these LS motors, because realistically on 15 pounds or so with this billet 7875 on a 4.8, I mean, it should be clearing 600 on 15 pounds in my opinion, but it's only making 515, and the exhaust is to blame. I would put a $100 bill on it. But we're gonna try to push it a little bit more. I'm not gonna push it much more just because I don't feel comfortable pushing stuff with high back pressure and just trying to force more boost in it. It's not smart. Granted, he has been running this car like this for a long time, but it's just something I personally don't feel comfortable with. So if he wants to do it on his own time, that's fine. But for me personally, I would open up the exhaust and fix that. Another instance of this is I had a Caprice. It was a Chevy Caprice when we had the old shop, and it was one of the only customer cars that I actually hurt the motor on, and it was because he had same style exhaust system, same turbo, same pretty much everything, and I could only run 2 degrees of ignition timing on that setup. And I'm like, what the fudge is going on here? That car had 3-inch exhaust with a chambered muffler, and I couldn't put more than 3 degrees of timing in it without it pulling timing. It was a stock HP tuner car. It just kept pulling timing and kept pulling timing, and I'm like, there's no way this thing can't take at least 10 degrees of timing. Well, I turned the knock sensor off and I set the timing at 10, and it busted a ringland on E85. Or maybe it was on pump gas, I can't remember, but it busted a ringland, and ever since then I'm like, man, don't choke these things, because you're just adding heat, you're adding a lot, you're adding boost back into the exhaust side, which isn't good. I wish we had a back pressure gauge on it so I could show you guys, but we don't. You know, and sometimes guys really want to push on stuff and whatever, but you got to do it smart if you want it to last. And it's just my 2 cents. Yeah, the last tuner got 610 horsepower out of this car, but you know, maybe he wasn't aware that this thing was super choked up. And if he would have just done a run with an open downpipe, he would have seen how much more power it could have made. And it's funny how that works. When you get rid of back pressure, the car is happier, makes more horsepower, is more efficient, and is safer. Makes more power, but it's safer. Tell me how that's funny, huh? So we're gonna try one more run. Hopefully we crack like 550 out of this thing, and we're gonna park it. I'm not gonna push it to 6. I don't feel comfortable doing it. It's just, you know, not my forte. Another way you can tell this thing's choked up too, if we pull up the fuel table, I have this all set up nice, and as we're increasing in boost, these values really aren't going up. So you can see this is 18 pounds right here. We're running pretty much the same fueling for 18 pounds as we are 14 pounds or 15 pounds. It just shows, you know, it's not, if it's not asking for fuel, it's not making good power. It's not making efficient power. Well, it made less power that time, and I think it's because the ethanol content sensor probably fell out of it again. Let's see here. Pull up the data log. Yeah, it's commanding a 10.8 air fuel instead of the ethanol air fuel. So this thing's all screwed up. Only 9 degrees of timing in it. So if we go to the flex fuel sensor, let's see here. Yeah, it fell off pretty much completely. This thing was gone. It didn't have no flex content. So let's see if we can fix that. Again, I might just have to bypass that stuff to make a number quick, because we need to move that to the feed line, and I don't know where he wants to put it or anything. So, and I told him about it, he was cool with changing it. So it's just something that he's gonna have to do. 17 pounds of boost, and it only made 370 horsepower because it's so down on timing and it was so rich. We got to get that flex sensor working again. Alright guys, sorry to cut in between here. My camera ended up dying, and I finish that video completely. But the car ended up making, after I fixed some of the flex fuel dips and stuff like that, it did make 547 or 548 to the tire on, I think it was like 16 pounds or something like that. And in the next video, we're going to show why it only made that much power. So definitely stay tuned. The ethanol content definitely gave this thing an upper edge and was able to make way more power than pump gas. We could have made more power on pump gas, but from my personal experiences, you know, when guys are out hammering on these things, if it's on pump gas, they hurt shit. On E85, there's a lot more window for error, and window for stuff to go wrong if something does kind of, you know, spike or do something weird. Ethanol is going to save the motor versus pump gas is going to, if there's just a little hiccup, it's gone. The motor's see you later. So that's why, you know, we run E85 on a lot of stuff. And that's why I have the pump gas setup so conservative. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you learned something, if you enjoyed it, if you laughed, if you called me an idiot, anything like that, leave a like. Thank you. Subscribe if you guys are new, and have a great night and a better tomorrow. More tuning content on this little Nova, and some more knowledge hopefully for you guys coming in the next video. So stay tuned. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. See ya.